Carolina with 30minutecrafts.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this cute gingerbread man card. The little gingerbread man is from Gingerbread Designs. It's in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to show you how you can design the whole thing and cut everything out, or you can just snag the design file I've already created in this video. Ready? Let's get started. We're going to start with a new file in Design Space. You're going to go over to your images and pull up images. We need 3 different kinds of images for the card that we're making. We need a card. So I'm going to go ahead and type card in up at the top, and different cards are going to come up. I have Cricut Access, so all those little files with the A are free for me. The ones without an A are not. I'm picking this square card with the rounded corners that I just love. And now I'm going to look for an envelope. I want an envelope that's also going to fit a square card. Now, knowing when you do a square card, yes, you do have to pay extra for postage. I love this little envelope right here. It's the first one that pops up. Perfect. And it's also part of my Cricut Access subscription. Done. Now I'm going to type in Goody for Jen Goody and look under the cartridges. She has all kinds of really fun cartridges. Here's some different holiday and Christmas designs. I love that bird right there. Jen Goody has this other great file down here with all these other fun Christmas images, and I love the little gingerbread man. I'm going to use that for this design. So I'll go ahead and select my gingerbread man, and that means I'll have my 3 elements that I need: my card, my envelope, and my design. Now that I have all these pieces on the canvas, I'm moving the gingerbread man out of the way and rotating the card and the envelope 90 degrees. If you hold down the shift key while you're turning, it'll get that exact 90 degrees, so you don't have anything at a little bit of a wonky skew. I'm turning them so that I have them in the orientation that makes sense when I make the card. That way it just looks on the screen the way it's going to look in my hand. I'm resizing everything because I feel like the card was a little small. It was about 3 inches, and I like my cards to be at least 4 inches, sometimes a little bit bigger than that, just so that there's, I don't know, a little bit more size to the card. It also gives me more space to be able to put the address and the return address on there. Now that I have everything sized and I know my card is going to fit inside the envelope, I'm separating out all my layers so that I have them all apart. And I'm going to make a copy of my card. This will become my lining later, and I want to do that now before I do any cuts or slices out of my card. I have my gingerbread man, and I'm going to go into the color sync tab. This allows me to move his face and his body and all the different frosting components all into one color because I want to cut them all out of white vinyl for this card. So this is an easy spot. Instead of having to change the color of each, I can just slide each over into the appropriate color, and voila, they're all together. I also have this kind of peachy color on there, and I don't need that layer, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that layer. And just like that, it's gone, and I have my perfect little gingerbread man. All of my white pieces I'm going to put together and link them into one set of layers. I'm going to attach those all. And I'm going to delete all of the writing. Jen Goody has all these lovely different layers so that her designs can be used in all different kinds of ways, which is one of the reasons they're my favorite designs to go to. And also she's a good personal friend. But it means that there's all this extra stuff. So I like to take out the stuff that I'm not going to need, which is the writing in this case. So now that I've attached all the frosting pieces and taken out all of my writing pieces, I'm going to take that background brown piece, and that's out of the way, and this makes sure that I have all these pieces attached. Oh, there was one that wasn't attached. So I'm going to click that attach button here. Make sure everything's all attached. Yep. And now I can move the brown onto my card. This is actually the perfect size. I don't need to resize anything super exciting. I want to grab both the brown and then the pink card so that I can do a slice, but it doesn't work the first time. And the reason is because the score line is attached to the pink card. So I need to take that score line and pink card and unattach them. Then I can grab the 2 layers of just the pink card and the brown card and do the slice. But again, that doesn't work until you remove that score line. The reason is you can slice 2 layers. No more, no less. It has to be 2 layers. Removing that score line moved my gingerbread man to the back, but no worries. I can still select the 2 pieces, do my slice, and now I'm just going to go ahead and remove both of the cutout cookie cutter part pieces because I don't need those anymore. So once those two are removed, I have basically the hole in my card that will be my cute little gingerbread man. And my next step is going to be to put the lining on. Now I could line both the front and the back. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and move this white gingerbread man in place just so I know he's there and he fits. Okay. Now I could make a complete lining the whole size of the whole card, but I kind of feel like that's a waste of the pretty cardstock that I'm going to use. I really don't need all that. Oh, by the way, go ahead and attach your score line right here, right now, because if you attach your score line now, you won't have to worry later and it won't be missing. So go ahead and attach those together. The first time that I did this, I accidentally picked part of the frosting right there. You can see that's why it turned white. So I needed to deselect and make sure that I only selected those two parts, just the score line and the card, before I attach them together. So now I'm going to go ahead and work on this lining. Like I mentioned, I don't want the whole lining there because that's just way too much for me. It's just a waste of the cardstock. And also it's going to add to the weight of the card. You're already paying extra for a square card. You don't want an overweight square card. So I'm going to grab a big square, which is my favorite way to slice away the areas that I don't need. And I'm going to make this big enough to cover the entire part that I don't need. Now here I went ahead and I made it a little bit bigger, and every time I let go, boop, it dropped right back down. And that's because I'm over the top edge of my canvas. And that's why it's going to keep dropping down on me. So my options would have been to either move down my pink, or like I did here, go ahead and resize that big gray square until it's big enough to cover the top half of my card, but small enough to fit still on that canvas. Once I've done that, I can go ahead and select just the two layers. I've already unattached the score line, and I'm selecting just the pink and gray. And now I can take this pink bottom piece, and that's the perfect size for my background. I'm going to go ahead and make it the brown that I want it for my gingerbread man. I'm going to move it over here, and look, it fits perfectly. I can just go ahead and move it to the back, and it's done. However, it might be a little tricky to make sure that those line up when I put them together. So I'm going to go ahead and move it to the front again. And there we go. Just put it a scooch in. I'm going to line it up over the top, make sure that I like the way it looks. Yep, perfect. Move it to the back, and now I'm happy. Now I can delete all these extra little bits and bobs over here because we don't need them anymore. That's all done. Now there's just a little bit of final cleanup to do. I can change the color of the card. I know I'm going to be using red for the card, so I can change the color here. For my envelope, I know I want a green envelope, so I can change the color here. That just helps me to visualize it. If you don't need that, it's fine as long as you have each layer a different color. The color that you're going to need it doesn't really matter. The Cricut isn't going to say, oh, wait, you identified this as red and you're not cutting red. I want to save my project so that I don't lose it. And this way I can also pull it into my iPad later if I want to cut it from my iPad instead of from my desktop, which is what I'm working on right now. And then I'm going to check all of my mats. I have one right here, and I have my brown background, I have my green envelope, and I have my red card. And yes, the score line is in place, and the score lines were all on the envelope, but we didn't mess around with the envelope at all other than to resize it, so that should be fine. I can choose to make more. Here I've chosen to make 3, and then I can see how it's going to affect the mats. And only 2 envelopes fit on the mat at any time, but and only 2 cards. So this is a great project. If I'm going to make 1, I might as well make 2 because it doesn't take me a lot more time to make 2 than it does to make 1. Now, here's where I have to purchase, because the design that I chose of Jen Goodies was a design that does cost. Because I have Cricut Access, I do get 10% off. I was free to design with it and play with it, but as soon as you want to go ahead and cut it out, that's when you're charged. You just put in your password. I already have my card linked in the Cricut software, so I just put in my password, and I'm charged a little bit less than $1.50 for this design that I now get to use over and over on other projects, including on the little bonus project at the end of this video. So I've decided on some colors for my project. I've got some gold foil that I'm going to use for the gingerbread man. I have green cardstock that I want to use for the envelope. I want to use this fun red sparkle, which I think is going to go great with that gold foil for the gingerbread man, and this will be for the card. I'm using white vinyl for his icing on the gingerbread man. I've got my green mat, and I might be pulling out a blue mat, we'll see. Whenever I have vinyl, I always use transfer tape to transfer the vinyl. And then I pulled out this fun printable clear sticker paper for a little bonus project to put seals on my envelopes. Go ahead and click the link down below to get you to the site where I will have the files so that you can make this fun bonus project yourself. So I'm going into Design Space. I'm going to go under categories and look at my projects in the cloud where I have this card saved. This is my gingerbread card. I'll go ahead and open it up. And there he is. I'll go ahead and press make it. And I'm going to replace what I have on the canvas because I'm already done with that. And now I need to decide how many of these I want to make. I'm going to go ahead and make 2 at the same time. I don't need to mirror anything for iron on. And I'll go ahead and start with my white vinyl. Heat transfer vinyl is always pretty side down. Regular adhesive vinyl is pretty side up. So this white vinyl is pretty side up. Between mats, you do want to make sure that you change the material. So I have all my pieces cut. These are my little gold insides. This is my vinyl. I can see my lines and I can trim this up. Now I have a bright pad and I could absolutely use my bright pad for this, but this weeding is actually going to be fairly simple. My final's weeded, I'm going to set that aside. I can remove my envelopes. If you don't want to curl your paper, I find the best way is to actually remove the mat from the paper and not the paper from the mat. So these both came off relatively flat, and once we put it all together, they really will be just perfectly flat again. Now we have the cards. This is my glitter cardstock. I put it glitter side down on a really fresh mat. And the reason I did glitter side down is because I have these score marks on here and I didn't want the score to happen on the glitter side. I wanted it to happen on this white side. Now with some designs, if you do this, you might need to do inverse like you would for heat transfer vinyl. I now have these 2 cute red glittery gingerbread men that I could use for something else. So let's put our card together. This gold fits right here on this white. And yep, I'm absolutely using hot glue. I'm just making sure to give a margin all the way around. And then pushing this in place. Hot glue dries quick and fast, and you can make it fairly flat. Got a little bit of a glue string over here that I can either pull off or cut off. Now I can go ahead and fold my card. Ta-da! I need to add my gingerbread man. His frosting. I've cut a little piece of Cricut transfer tape. I'm going to put this right on. I have a little Cricut scraper that I can use to just secure that everything's in place and stuck to that transfer tape. And just like when I took the mat off, I'm peeling the backing paper off the design instead of the design off the backing paper. Perfect. Now I take this over to my card. Line them up pretty good. There's a lot of forgiveness in this design. Burnish really well with my fingers. The scraper can do a little bit and get into some of these corners, but I find a fingertip works really well here. And then carefully peel back the transfer tape. This transfer tape is reusable, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on my second design. And I'll have it ready to go for when I make my next card. I'm ready to put my envelope together. I can decide which side I like as my outside. One side has a texture and one side doesn't. I really like the texture side for the outside, so I'm going to have the untextured side in and just fold. It folds really easily on those score marks. Fold again. And this one wants to fold the other way first. That's fine. And then I just fold it right back in. And then fold the top. Perfect. These two sides come in. This bottom is going to come up. I'm going to do a quick check, okay, that's how high I want to put my glue. Glue right here on this inside edge. I want to make sure that the hot glue doesn't go inside the envelope and actually glue my envelope shut. The hot glue can be pretty hot and burn right through the paper onto your fingers, so you do want to be careful when doing this part. Sometimes some hot glue gun helper fingertips work great. And then your card can go right in your envelope. One more cute little step though. After writing my sentiment inside, I can tuck my card in the envelope, close it up, and add a matching sticker that I created print and cut on the Cricut. Just a fun little extra bonus touch. I'll have this as a bonus file on the blog, so make sure that you check that link below and find that bonus file. Because we've already purchased the gingerbread man to put on the card, we can use them again on the outside of the card, and it doesn't cost us any extra for the second project, which I think is so fun. Once you buy the file once, you have it for life. And that's how easy it is to make this fun little gingerbread man card and the envelope and little bonus sticker that I have the file for you down below. Make sure that you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to this channel because we've got all kinds of crafts planned for y'all and you don't want to miss a single one. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I come back every now and then and I make sure to answer your questions. Thanks so much for watching.